All right, I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Allow us to begin in the following way by first and foremost thanking each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and allowing this transmission in this way to occur. Each and every time you allow such a transmission to occur between our respective societies, you help us create a link and a bridge and a third reality between our two in which we can interact and perhaps one day interact more concretely, more physically. But for now, we share ideas and perspectives with each and every one of you, ideas and perspectives that work in our civilization and can work in yours if you are of a mind to apply them in that way. Not that you have to. Your reality is your reality. Your choices are your choices. Your beliefs are your beliefs. We would never in any way, shape, or form, force you to change anything you do not wish to change. But there are many things we have applied in our civilization that work for us in allowing us to have the kinds of manifestations we prefer. And in listening to many of you desire the same kinds of loving, creative, peaceful manifestations on your planet, then we are more than willing to simply share the ideas of the tools and techniques that work for us, knowing that if you are willing to apply them in your lives, they can work for you as well, but that is really up to you. Do you follow? All right. Let us talk about the idea of tools. Every single one of you talks about the idea of applying some sort of tool or technique to make changes in your lives in a positive and constructive way. And we have had many discussions with many of you about the idea of exactly what sort of tools to apply and how to apply them and how to get a result and how to get a manifestation. Now, of course, first and foremost, you are always manifesting something. If you were not, you wouldn't have an experiential physical reality, correct? Correct. So the idea is, you do not have to learn how to manifest. This is automatic. It is built into you as a creator, as an aspect of creation. You do not have to learn how to manifest. What you are simply learning is how to manifest more consciously, to be more aware of how you manifest so that you can manifest what you prefer, instead of manifesting your unconscious beliefs. The idea is to always, first and foremost, recognize that any manifestation that you create, any physical experience you create, is the result of the strongest definitions and beliefs that you hold within your conscious or unconscious mind to be true. Because that is how physical reality experience is created. Physical reality is really nothing but a mirror, a reflection of what you believe most strongly is possible, is probable, is true for you. This exists on both a collective level and on an individual level. In other words, you have a collective agreement about what is highly probable or not in physical reality, and you will abide by that collective agreement to a great degree. For example, most of you, not all of you necessarily, but most of you will agree for the duration of your physical lives that gravity will work. It is as simple as that. You have agreed to that particular physical parameter of experience. And unless you have a specific reason for canceling the idea of gravity and levitating or floating, which many of you might, then you will generally go about your day-to-day activities with your feet firmly on the ground. And that is all you need to understand about that part of the collective agreement. Many of these things are done on a level where you don't have to think about them so that you can get on with your lives and not have to pay attention every single second to every single thought and every single belief and every single definition that is harbored within your unconscious mind. And that is as it needs to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to simply live your lives. You would always be thinking, do I need to take this step? Do I need to take this step? Am I going to stay on the earth? I don't know. I might go floating away. I have to think about this. Obviously, that would take up a lot of your time, and that is something that will not allow you to just experience life in a natural way. You also have an individual component to this agreement, and that means that each and every one of you have a singular theme that you have chosen to explore in this life, and that there may be many variations of the collective agreement that are germane to you, many adaptations that are specific to you and your specific personal theme of exploration that another individual may not necessarily be able to manifest, but you can. There is leeway, in other words, for the individual within the collective bubble agreement. You will stay generally within the collective bubble, but you can vary the idea of what's probable for you as being very different as to what might be probable for someone else to manifest. And this simply has to do with the themes that you chose to explore when you decided to have this life. And yes, you all chose to have a life. This is an issue of choice. It is not something that happens without you choosing it from the spirit level. That doesn't mean you always choose every single detail, but the idea is that you know that physical reality has a capability of providing certain kinds of random events, and that you know that in exploring the theme of your desire, you will allow yourself to gravitate and be attracted to certain kinds, certain themes, certain windows and opportunities of random events that will best serve your ability to explore that theme. How you go about it is really up to you. The idea, thus, then, it is a kind of a combination, as you say in your language, between what you typically call destiny part, is the idea of the general theme you chose to explore in this life. That's like a hallway, and you will walk down that hallway. That is a given. That's your destiny. But how you do it, how you walk down that hallway, fast, slow, against the wall, on the floor, crawling, running, upside down, it is up to your free will to decide what works best for you. How it is that it best fits the theme that you chose to explore, how it is that it best fits the persona that you have created yourself to be. Personality being a construction, like a three-sided prism, of three components. Your beliefs and definitions, your emotions, thought patterns, and your physical behaviors. These three things go hand in hand to creating the artificial projection or construct you call your individual personality for this particular life. The idea, thus, is that it all takes its cue, the behaviors and the emotions and thoughts, all take their cue from definitions and beliefs first. That is the first and foremost tool that you need in your kit, is to understand consciously how to recognize what your definitions and belief of life is all about and what your relationship to life and yourself is all about. And once you begin to have a handle on those definitions and those beliefs, then the idea of manifesting what you prefer becomes more conscious. You become more aware of your capability of making choices, and thus you are free consciously to choose what it is you prefer to manifest. But as we said, physical reality is a mirror. Very much like the idea of a glass mirror on your planet, when you look in the mirror and you see your reflection, if the reflection's face is frowning, you know, you don't go over to the mirror and attempt to make the reflection smile. It will never work. The only way the reflection can smile is if you smile first. But the idea is that many of you have been taught to think of physical reality as something to manipulate, which it's not from the outside. The idea is that as you change, physical reality on the outside has no choice, like the reflection in the mirror, but to change. However, here's where many of you get a little bit stuck. We recognize that what you have created as a physical reality, space-time experience, has a little bit of a time lag, has a little bit of an idea of volumetric space and time. Things take time. So, when you do create a change within your belief system within, the idea is that you will see a reflection from the outside world, but you may not see it right away. The idea is that what you may see first is what we call an echo of what you have already created. The idea being that the same situation may crop up as cropped up before. Now, we know that many of you, when you see the same situation crop up, when you see it appear before you, may sometimes, because of how you're taught to think of yourselves, go into self-recrimination and self-doubt and self-devaluation and say, I must be doing something wrong. Something is wrong with me. Why isn't the outside reality changing to reflect what I know has changed within me? But the idea is there's that echo. And sometimes physical reality will simply give you the same situation, the same set of circumstances that was there before, to give you an opportunity to see if you actually really have changed. Because change, and here's one of the primary tools in the kit, is this knowledge. Change is not about what happens on the outside. It's about how you respond to what happens. It's state of being, not circumstance. So the idea is that if you say you have changed, and a similar situation crops up that cropped up before when you were in a negative state, and you react in the same negative way to that circumstance, you haven't changed. Therefore, there is no reason for the outside reality to change because you've just proven with the same old reaction that you haven't changed. If, however, the same situation crops up, the same set of props appears before you, and you respond in a different way, in a way that is reflective of the fact that you really believe you're a different person, then you are proving to physical reality you really have changed. And when you make that proof available to reality, then creation and the mirror can change to reflect a true change within you. So remember, it's not about the idea of what changes on the outside that proves you have changed. It's how you respond to what's going on the outside, even if it's still the same, that proves you have changed. Does that make sense? Yes. Because there is no outside. Physical reality is just a reflection. It's just an illusion. It is just another version of you in whatever state you are in. And if you constantly need to remind yourself what state you are in, that's what the reflection is for, so that you can look in the mirror. And if you see the frown, you can say, oh, that's not what I prefer. I prefer to smile. And thus then, when you keep smiling because that's what you prefer, the mirror will have no choice. But if you make it conditional, well, I'll smile when the mirror smiles first. I'll change. I'll be happy. I'll be happy when my physical reality changes first. Then I'll be happy as a reaction. It doesn't work that way because physical reality is nothing but a reflection of the state of being you believe is most true for you. So if you choose to be happy because you don't need a reason other than that's what you prefer, then physical reality as a mirror has no choice but to reflect the happiness you have decided is the state of being you prefer without gauging it based on what's going on in physical reality. Because physical reality is just a neutral set of props. Circumstances do not have built-in meaning at all. The greatest gift you have been given by creation is that life, I know this will sound funny, life is meaningless. The point being that you were created to give life meaning, and the meaning you give it determines the effect you get out of it. It is totally neutral unto itself, just a set of neutral props that have no built-in meaning. But it is simple physics. What you put out is what you get back, what you typically call karma in some of your religious connotations. The idea simply is that whatever frequency you give off is the reflection that gets back to you. So the idea simply is that if you understand everything is neutral and doesn't have built-in meaning, then you don't have to react any particular way to anything that happens. Every circumstance and every situation, if you see it as fundamentally neutral, you can then decide, you can make a conscious choice that it must serve you in a positive way. You may not intellectually understand how it will do so, and you don't need to. That's the point. The point is you simply have to trust and have faith that it will, because you know there's no other choice. You know that everything happens in your life for a reason, therefore it must serve you in a positive way, even if you don't intellectually understand how that can be so. And when you maintain that state of being, you will then see in some way, shape, or form how the very same circumstance that seemed so negative before can actually serve you in a positive way, because everything can do double duty, because everything is fundamentally neutral. And when you put the meaning in, the positive meaning in, you can only get a positive effect out, even if someone else's intention toward you is negative. The idea, again, being that every single one of you have your own reality. Yes, it seems that you're sharing a reality, but you're actually not sharing the same reality. The only way that you perceive you have other people in your reality by agreement is that you agree to create out of your own energy, out of your own consciousness, your version of them in your reality to interact with. You are actually just your own reality. And even though it seems to be populated with billions of people, that is simply the versions of them you have created in your reality to interact with. So it really doesn't matter what anyone else's intention toward you is. You can decide whether their intention and their vibration and their state of being is appropriate for you, is preferable to you. And when you decide what is preferable, then regardless of anyone else's intention, the energy, being the energy of your own reality, will serve you in the way and in the manner you have deemed it shall serve you because of the decisions you have made. And another person's reality will be experienced by them in the way they have put energy into that reality and meaning into that reality. It's as simple as that. It is simply physics. There is really nothing more to it than that. Let's talk a little bit more about the idea of tools briefly. Again, very important to understand. The tools, just in the same way that you don't have to learn to manifest, it's just about learning what it is you prefer to manifest consciously. Tools, any tool you use to create your life, always works. The tools always work. There is no such thing as a tool of creation that doesn't work. It's about how you're using the tool. That's what makes the difference. So, for example, we know on your planet you have a tool called a hammer. And you know that sometimes you wish to drive a nail into a piece of wood with that hammer. Well, the hammer has two ends. It has the head of the hammer, it has the claw on the back. If you use the claw to drive the nail, you run the risk of bending the nail. That's not the end of the hammer that was designed to drive the nail. It's not that the hammer isn't working, it's that you have it backwards and upside down. The idea, therefore, is if you understand the tool and you use it right side up, face front, you can drive the nail in the way that you need to and recognize that the claw is for the purpose of pulling it out, and when you need to pull it out, you can use the other side of the hammer. So it's all about discernment and learning to use the tools in the appropriate way that they were designed to be used to allow you to manifest consciously and get the result that you prefer. Here is another caveat, however, and I know that this seems strange to many of you in the idea of manifestation. Here is the key, though, a very important key. It will be the last thing we will talk about in this monologue before we open up to the idea of questions and answers. And it is this. The idea is that getting in touch with your definitions and getting in touch with your beliefs to determine what it is that you prefer to manifest must be manifested for its own sake, in the sense of doing the act for its own sake, because that's the state of being, that's the state you prefer for its own sake, with absolutely, here it comes, no expectation whatsoever that what you prefer must manifest. Yes, I know, it seems paradoxical, and it is, but that's the point. The point is you need to use the power of paradox. You need to stay in the balance point. When you attempt to manifest a specific thing with a particular intention, with a particular expectation that it must manifest, very often, many of you are putting conditions on it that if it doesn't manifest, as we said, something's wrong. But if you simply allow yourself to be the state you wish to be for its own sake, simply because that's what you prefer to be, then the things that are germane to that state have no choice but to manifest, whatever they are. But if you insist that they must manifest in a certain way, you're actually selling yourself short, because you don't necessarily have the foresight to know the best way that that thing could manifest. And when you insist that it must manifest in a certain way, along a certain path, you're actually closing doorways through which the manifestation could actually happen in a way that is even greater than you imagined it. So don't insist that the fruition must happen in the way that you have imagined it. Just know that it will happen in the way that serves you best, and simply stay in the state that you need to stay that is representative of that manifestation, so that the manifestation can find you. Because you cannot perceive what you are not the vibration of. This, again, is simple physics. If you don't stay in the appropriate state that represents the manifestation will remain invisible to you. Because remember, when we talk about manifesting, you're not actually talking about bringing something to you that isn't already here. Things already exist here and now. You don't have to actually reach out to some endless dimension and endless netherworld to attract something to you and somehow bring it into manifestation in physical reality. It's already in existence. It's already here, because there is only here. There is only now. Look at your watches. Anytime you decide what time it is always now, isn't it? Yes, that's the only time it is. All your watches should simply say now, 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 now. That's the only time it really is, ever. You never say, oh, I think it's then. No, it's now. What time is it? It's now. So there is only now, and things can manifest only in the now. What you call, from your linear space-time illusionary perspective, what you call different moments are actually the same moment from a different point of view. It's the same moment. So everything is here, everything is now, and manifestation is just about allowing you to be the vibration, the proper frequency that will allow you to see that part of the now that was heretofore invisible to you. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as an analogy of changing the channels on your television set. You know that when you want to watch a particular program on one channel, all the other programs available to you at the same time still exist. All you have to do is change your channel to see them. That doesn't mean that the program you were just watching has gone into non-existence. It still exists, but you don't see it anymore because you're no longer on that frequency. Physical reality is structured the same way within your consciousness. Whatever you really wish to perceive, you just have to change your frequency, and you'll be able to see that it's always been right here, right now, forever and ever. It's just a matter of tuning your frequency to the appropriate vibration. And the way you do that most strongly, how? Many of you know. Act on your highest joy. Follow your highest excitement. Follow your bliss. Why do you think this is such a popular phrase in your understanding now on your planet? It's because what you call excitement, what you call joy, what you call love, what you call that particular frequency is your body's physical translation of the frequency that represents your true natural core self. That vibration and anything that contains that vibration is who you really are. So act on it. Move toward it. Go for it, as you say, because that's your true compass needle pointing to your true magnetic north. That's why it's so important to act to the best of your ability on your highest excitement. That vibrational frequency is who you were truly created to be. That's all there is to it. It's as simple as that, unless, of course, you would prefer that it's more complicated and difficult. But that's your choice. We will not take that away from you if that's what you prefer. But we have heard many of you talk, and it seems likely that the majority of you would prefer things to be a little simpler. Creation is, yes, richly complex, but at its fundamental heart, it is not complicated. It is exceedingly, exceedingly simple. I will say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we will extend to each and every one of you our deep appreciation in allowing this transmission to occur in this particular manner and on this particular day. Once again, each and every time your civilization allows this communication to occur in this way, it affords our civilization an opportunity to experience expanded reality by experiencing the unique perspectives that are demonstrated by each and every one of you. So we thank you for this gift of expansion and this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission, this communication, this day of your time, with the following idea that we would like to call the resonance of the land. Know that there are greater and greater opportunities for acceleration in your lives, greater and greater opportunities for expansion at this time of change on your planet, now that your collective, mass conscious reality is beginning to allow there to be more momentum in the direction of the reality you prefer. In other words, more opportunity to choose and manifest the individual personal realities that each and every one of you say you prefer. Now that this is more available to each and every one of you because of the inertia, because of the momentum of the mass consensus reality, you must now understand that, to some degree, as we have said before, there are places on your planet, spots, locations, that are also going to increase in their frequency, in their vibration, and going to tune their frequency to specific levels that are representative of being more conductive and more conducive by being in those areas to allowing your energy to merge with the energy of the location, your resonance frequency to merge and harmonize with the resonant frequency now in the location that is stepping up. And by putting yourself in the location that magnetizes you, that you are most strongly attracted to, you can then, by being there, amplify your ability to manifest what it is you prefer. You can accelerate your ability by taking advantage of the accelerated energy in any given spot that you are magnetically attracted to. This is now more importantly than ever, the time for each and every one of you to allow yourselves to know that as part of the picture of what you call your ideal reality, your ideal life, that the location must be included. As we have talked about from time to time, location is not really a place in which you exist. Location is a part of the equation of who and what you are, who and what an object is. It's part of the variable, the equation, the vibrational frequency equation of an object, person, place, or thing in that sense. Location is not really separate from who and what you are at any given moment, because space and time are really your projections, your illusions. Space and time actually simply exists within your consciousness, and you project it in a sense, appearing around yourself and make it seem as if you existed in a location. But location is actually within you, not you within it. So, location is an important part of the equation of what you deem yourself to be, of what you identify and define yourself to be. So if you are not in a location that is conducive to your energy, or conversely, if you are in a location that is specifically not conducive to your preference, to your energy, to who you know yourself to be, you are going to, in some senses, create a countermanding frequency, a countermanding resonance. It is more important than ever to understand that location is a part of the definition of who you are. And if you find yourself being attracted to a particular place on your planet, there is a reason for it. By allowing yourself to flow with that attraction, by aligning with that place, and not talking yourself out of being there, you will then give yourself an opportunity to see how much farther, how much faster you can go by compounding and amplifying and magnifying all the frequencies on your planet and in your reality that are representative of the frequency of your preference. To remain out of that place that represents your highest joy, your highest energy, your greatest creativity, your strongest attraction, to keep yourself away from that is in some senses a denial of a part of who and what you are. Now, of course, again, as with everything that contains your highest excitement, and in acting in that direction, sometimes, just as things do, just as situations do, places will attract you to begin with, but then in that sense may lose their attraction. Remember that you always have to act on your highest excitement without any expectation. You always must allow yourself to move in the direction of your highest joy, but without the expectation that it must come to some specific fruition. Because sometimes a place, a circumstance, will attract you like no other, only to get you moving. Not because you're supposed to remain there or continue to do that thing, but only to get you moving. Because sometimes, so many of you have been trained to fragment your consciousness in such a way that you don't allow yourself to really know what it is that in some senses might be best for you. And so you will in effect trick yourself by putting a lot of that excitement energy in a certain direction, on a certain thing, making it very specific, just so it will lure you, magnetize you in that direction, not because that is the thing you need to wind up doing for the rest of your life, but only because that is the direction in which you need to move to put you in the right place and time, perhaps for something else that will then come along. Very often it is perhaps difficult for you to tell the difference at first, but the point is that you don't have to know the difference. As long as you are following your highest excitement at any given moment, no matter what it is that contains it, you can rest assured that if you enter it and act on it without expectation, then you will be in the proper state of mind to receive whatever else might come along that will be representative of a change in the direction of your excitement when and if that should occur. The idea, therefore, now more than ever, even including the idea of place, is to at least to the best of your ability, when some place, like something or some situation, might attract you more strongly than any other, allow yourself at least the benefit, the opportunity to explore, taking some action in the direction of going there, however that may pan out in your reality, however that may be making itself available to you, without the assumption that you have to necessarily stay there. And simply by doing the best you can to move in the direction of your excitement, no matter in what form it may come, you will then see, if you hold on to the idea of zero expectation, that it will be a flow and you will move. And things and circumstances and opportunities will arrange themselves to make it easy for you, to create it to be the path of least resistance for you, to show you how your life can become an explosion of synchronicity, when and where you may least expect it, that your life can become a continuous series of surprises, and that in that momentum, you will find the stability and the security and the happiness and the safety that you actually require, rather than in remaining, rather than in refusing to move, rather than in being, shall we say, stubborn about the idea of your reality as it beckons to you. Allow yourself to understand that true security is motion, is change. Otherwise, it becomes static and stagnant. And in this day and age on your planet, all things are, if nothing else, about change. It is the spin of the dice, as you say, in your world. It is the opportunity to see where things may fall. But the only way you're really going to find out what it is that you are all about is to move into the unknown, embrace the unknown, and accept that you actually exist in that unknown, and place plays a part just like anything else. So allow yourself to be magnetized. Allow yourself to explore the idea of what place on your planet has attracted you or may come up to attract you without assumption, without expectation. And don't get in your way. Don't put conditions on yourself. I can't move there because. I can't explore this because. Allow yourself to see what you can do about it. You may be surprised, if you are simply willing to be open, how many actions you can take in that direction. And if you do it without expectation, you won't have to put these conditions upon yourself as to what is supposed to happen and not supposed to happen before you believe you have the ability to do things that you may have always had the ability to do. If you would just get out of your own way and rearrange your own definitions to see that you are quite a bit more capable of creating the reality you prefer than you may have thought you were. That is all we suggest, that you give it a chance, that you give yourself a chance to recognize place as a part of the equation of who it is you define yourself to be, rather than simply an arbitrary place in which to do things and live your life. It is you. Place is you. Just like any part of reality is you, because you are the creator. You are the reflection of the infinite. And each and every one of you, as a piece of the infinite, is nevertheless the whole, expressing itself and experiencing itself as a part of the whole. That's the holographic definition. What also can make this perhaps easier for you is to remember that, holographically speaking, everything and everywhere and every when is actually simply here and now. So even when you find yourself attracted to go someplace else other than where you may be, that someplace else is still fundamentally here. And in that sense, you're not really going anywhere. You're allowing place to move through you, rather than you really moving through time and space. It's all here, it's all now. So do not be afraid to follow that attraction, because all you're doing is going to another here and now. You're not really going that far. And besides, from our perspective, any place on your planet is, as you say, a hop, skip, and a jump away. So, we thank you for allowing us to remind you of these ideas, to share them with you, to reflect them to you. And again, we also remind you that the choice is up to you. We are not here to live your lives, but only to suggest and reflect what can work for you if you will be willing to discover more and more every day in every way who and what you actually are. I say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for co-creating this transmission this day of your time and affording our civilization an opportunity to experience the expansion of creation through our interactions with each and every one of you. We would like to begin this transmission this day of your time with the concept of creative conflict. Now, we have for quite some time in these dialogues talked about the ideas that you do not need struggle and pain in your life anymore, that your lives can be effortless and joyful, that you can bring into manifestation the lifestyle that is representative of your highest excitement, your creativity, your love, your joy. But we wish to understand together that many times the
ideas that we transmit telepathically are translated into certain words in your language, and you only have so many words to represent so many concepts. So, we would like to make it clear at this time that when we have talked about the idea of removing conflict from your life, we are talking about the idea of the destructive forms of this concept. We are not talking about the removal of the constructive forms of this concept. Creative conflict, as you already all know, is essential for the idea of every story, of all growth. Creative and constructive conflict is what we usually refer to when the word in your language challenge comes up. That is what we are referring to. You all know that you must have thresholds that challenge you in order to expand, to stretch, to grow, to become more and more of yourself. So, when we talk about the idea of removing conflict from your lives, we are only talking about the idea of removing confusion, lack of clarity, the idea of the suffering, of the pain, the idea of feeling lost or succumbing to victimization, or the idea of giving your power away. Those are the things we are talking about changing. But we are not taking away creative, constructive, challenge, that kind of character-building conflict. But we wish to make this clear because we understand that sometimes the use of certain words in your language makes things confusing. So, we are not saying that your future and your life of excitement and ecstasy will be in any way, shape, or form bland. We are not saying that the removal of conflict will mean that you are sitting around doing nothing, that you will experience no kinds of challenges, no kinds of change, no kinds of investigation of your curiosity. Those are the things that will continue and must continue in order for you to create backgrounds, so to speak, against which you can see how far you've come, to create the idea of something that will lure you into expanding yourself and expressing yourself more creatively. You will not lose that. You will never lose that. Our civilization has not lost that. No civilization that we know of has lost that. Not that kind of constructive and creative, challenging conflict meant in that way. That always is necessary to allow you to have perspective, to expand beyond that perspective, to create a new perspective, and yet again expand beyond that one, forever and ever, to become all that you can be, all that you are. So, please, do not assume we are talking about a life of boredom when we say that you will remove conflict, that you will have no more challenges, for that is not what we mean. Every story, in order to be a story, must in that sense be a change, a perspective that shifts, and in order to do that, there must be what at first might appear to be an obstacle, but which, if utilized creatively, will be transformed into an opportunity and a challenge that will allow you to expand and will become not an impediment to your joy, but part of your joy. And you will welcome these things, for they will be seen with your new attitudes, with your new perspectives. They will be seen for the portions of your own consciousness that they are, and that you are in fact challenging yourselves to become everything that you know deep down you were created to be, as your unique aspects of all that is, of the infinite, of the Creator, or whatever you wish to call it. Now that we have shared this perspective with each and every one of you, and once again in return for the gift that you are giving to our civilization in allowing this exchange to take...
Let me say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. We will once again greet every single one of you individually and collectively, and we will begin this phase of this transmission with the following idea. First of all, whether or not it were true that all of you have already channeled in some way, shape, or form, it is still a very easy thing to do. And in a sense, we could really teach you, anyone, whether they feel they've done it before or not, to channel in about 5 of your minutes. That's all it really takes. But we will do this after about a couple of hours of information. Then we will teach you to channel in 5 minutes. Now, first and foremost, we will address a scale of approach to this. We will start, as you would say, typically in a sense at the bottom, and move to the top, accelerating upward. So, let us begin a little bit with the idea that has already been discussed by the channel regarding the personality fragmentation, and let us involve ourselves in an exercise that will allow for a little bit of reintegration of this, just to start us off. So make yourselves comfortable, close your eyes if you wish, and begin to breathe in a relaxed and easy manner. In and out. In and out. In and out. And as you allow yourself to maintain this deep rhythmic breathing at whatever pace is comfortable for you, remember also once again that anything I may suggest to you will simply be a suggestion. Do the best you can. Allow, however, your imagination to guide you and change whatever it needs to change in terms of symbology in any of these meditational exercises so that it works for you. Trust that your imagination is key to who you are, and it will make the change according to what will work best. So first and foremost, allow yourself to imagine, in your mind's eye, however this works for you, the idea or the picture or even the sound of emptiness, of empty space, black, a void, nothing, nothing, nothing. Now into that nothingness, begin by seeing at whatever you deem to be its very center a bright spark of light like a star. This is you, the real you. Now, see, imagine, feel, be this bright spark shattering into 1,000 brilliant fireflies of light, flitting about, filling this black void like the stars of the cosmos, a stellar panorama of fragmented, reflecting shards of a single source of light. Little flickers of candle flame in the darkness. Little bright spots of light. Little eyes from different dimensions of awareness. Little beings, different awarenesses, different personalities, different experiences, different ideas and points of view and perspectives. All the friends you have created yourself to be within yourself, to yourself. All of the ideas of the child self, the parent self, the friend self, the brother, sister self. All aspects and fragments of the concept of whatever it means to be an intelligence, a sentience, an aware being. Each one of these is one such component. Some of them have experienced what you would call pleasurable things. Some of them have experienced great depths of pain and suffering. Some of them have not been allowed to express who and what they are, while others have been given free rein to voice themselves as they wish. Whatever that experience may be, now, allow yourself to acknowledge the existence of all of them. Each is valid, each is beautiful, each is relevant and plays a part. Each is a note in the entire song and orchestration of your existence. without invalidating the individuality. Imagine them all now in perfect harmonic vibration with one another. A beautiful, resonant, choir-like chord. One beautiful, ringing chord of self-acceptance and integration. For remember, integration is not the dissolving of the individual components. It is the allowance of each component to be strongly validated and the allowance of clear communication to exist among all the components so that each plays its proper part, instead of doing more than it was designed to do and taking the burden of extra weight upon its little shoulders. They all now let go of that which does not belong to them and give it back to the other components to which it does belong. Exchanging now the gifts that they have given each other, that they may have in their ancient definitions assumed they had to undertake, which now they give back to their rightful owners and rightful place. The talents of each unto each, and they feel the cool green clarity, the sharp emerald clarity of your mentality. Green, your mind is relaxing into the green, relaxing into the grass and trees of nature. Relaxing. And as you feel yourself surrounded by the cool grasses and green energy, imagine now, bring into focus, if you will, the crystalline blue vibration of electromagnetic light, the blue essence of liquid light. Feel that blue soothing your spirit, the air, the water, light, fluid, your spirit, your soul. Feel it flowing, cooling, icy, refreshing, bracing throughout your body. The beautiful blue vibration of the higher realms of the mountain tops, of the threshold of air and space. The crystal clarity of the blue vibration, sending your spirit soaring, light upon the air, light among the clouds, the blue-white light. Allow yourself to feel relaxed in body, mind, and spirit, floating freely, comfortably, beautifully, loving yourself, trusting yourself, being at ease with who and what you are, and feeling the red, green, and blue merging into the beautiful, radiant, white light of your total being that knows itself and knows what knowing feels like and has conviction that everything is all right, that everything is perfect, that you are exactly made in the image of the infinite. A facet, clear crystal facet, reflecting that white light, and at the same time, as a prism, breaking down that white light into the multi-hued spectrum of all experience in your reality, experienced with ease, with joy, with creative effortlessness. Red, green, blue, body, mind, spirit. The simple relaxation technique that brings you to the next stage of this exercise, which is what we call your place of perfect peace. Imagine, now that you are feeling this vibration of support, imagine, if you will, letting go of that which simply does not belong to you, that you do not need. Giving yourself permission to let go. You now find in your imagination that you will create whatever to you is your representation of your place of perfect peace. It might be a mountaintop, it might be a meadow, it might be day, it might be night, it might be cold, it might be warm. Whatever it is, create it now. This is your place, your sanctuary. However you want it to look, create it in your imagination, in your dimension of reality, your place of perfect peace. There may be beautiful, fluffy clouds in the sky. There may be the beautiful songs of birds, or the bubbling of mountain streams. Or it may be the austere beauty of the surface of your moon. Whatever it is doesn't matter, as long as you know that it represents and symbolizes to you your place of perfect peace, so that you know that when you are here, all is right with the world, and all is as it needs to be, and that you, in this place, are who you actually are who you really are. Relaxed, creative, at ease, loving life, loving yourself, loving all that is, loving everything around you, engaged, curious, vibrant, alive, alert, like a child with curiosity and imagination and playfulness. These are the gifts to you of your place of perfect peace. This is your center, expressed as an environment. This is your ideal self, expressed as a place of perfect peace, perfect knowing, perfect being. Now, from this place, you will know, no matter what thoughts may come in, no matter what skepticism you may have from time to time, no matter what doubts you may entertain, for now, just for now, you will know that when you are in your place of perfect peace, you are at the correct frequency to receive what you need to receive, whatever that may be and in whatever form it may need to come. In your place of perfect peace, your peace is perfectly placed. And you are on the right wavelength for whatever you require. That is the gift of your place of perfect peace. And now, regarding the idea of the accessing of information, we will begin from your place of perfect peace, in your place of perfect peace, to allow you to stretch your senses in the following important generalized domains. Each general domain will represent a number of specific bits of information that in the future you may wish to access along any specific route you so desire, but for now, the ability to know that you can enter the general domain will allow you to know that the doorways to information are always open to you, and that whatever you want to explore in that domain is up to your intentional direction. So, continuing on. In your place of perfect peace now, create it for yourself. Breathe easily into it. Be there Be there. Be in your place of perfect peace. And in that place of perfect peace, imagine the following interaction. Imagine, if you will, either on the ground before you or floating out in front of you, or however you wish to imagine it, being held in your hand, or whatever is, in your estimation, representative of how your place of perfect peace works. Imagine some kind of stone. Big or small is up to you. Stone. Now, ask permission of the stone to know the stone. And imagine that you have received permission from the stone to know the stone and all things of the mineral domain. Imagine now that as you receive this permission, and you can work this either way, the stone either grows or you shrink. In either way, to such a degree that you now begin to see the actual molecular structure of the stone. You are now smaller than the molecules, or they are bigger than you are. And you see the atoms of all the minerals that make up the stone, each atom being like unto a giant sphere of energy. But it is specifically the atoms of the stone, of the minerals, of the elements in the mineral domain. Move in between the spaces, into the heart of the stone, until you believe you are literally at the very heart, the very center of the stone, of the lattice work, of the matrix, of the atomic structure. Feel the vibrations of the stone all around you, penetrating you. Match their frequency. Harmonize in lockstep to the kingdom of the stone, to the queendom of the stone, to the domain of the stone, of the mineral domain. You feel the vibration of all the stone formation, small and large, pebble, mountain. All the forms it takes are yours to know, to have, to hold, to be, to live, to breathe, to see. You and the stone are in a relationship. You and the stone are breathing together. You and the stone are consciousness acting in concert. You and the stone, you and the stone, you and the stone are one, are one, are one. Feel the qualities of the stone, the weight, the density. Feel the qualities of the stone. Feel them in your body. You are like unto the stone. You know the ages eternal. You are extremely fast and hard and patient and forever. You change your shape from stone to dust and back again to mountain top, to planet, to asteroid, and come back to the stone. Anything you now need to know about the mineral domain is yours to explore by entering this door. You and the stone are one. Come out of the stone and let it shrink, or you grow, until it is once again as it was before, in front of you as the stone it was. Extend your gratitude and thanks to the stone being for sharing itself with you and for agreeing to be in relationship with you. Anything you need to know about the mineral kingdom, now all you have to do is conjure up your stone friend and ask and explore. Now allow the stone to vanish and transform into a plant, a flower, a tree, whatever it needs to be. Allow yourself to greet the plant and recognize the consciousness. Allow yourself to feel the sweetness of the flower and the tree. Allow yourself to feel the moistness and aliveness, but the different time frame and perception of reality. Ask permission of the plant to know the plant, and imagine and feel that permission is freely granted, joyfully granted, and that you are invited in. Feel yourself again shrinking, or the plant enlarging beyond all bounds, until once again you are dwarfed by the molecular structure, the complexity, the variety, the structures, the to and fro of the water in the plant, the vibrant stems and saps, the lifeblood, the fluid, the consciousness and awareness of the flower, of the tree, of the grasses. Go to the heart of the plant inside the atomic structure and feel the vibration of nurturing and feel the nature that surrounds you and be one with that frequency. Feel the green. Feel the life bursting within the seeds, the potentiality of all the branches and roots that anchor you firmly to the ground and allow you to reach to the stars of any branch of information that you require. And know the language of the wind in the leaves and the branches of the trees and the grasses upon the plains and the multicolored flowers of every garden on the earth in your place of perfect peace.
We will now introduce something which is, in our experience, always introduced to a civilization at this point, the paradox meditation. This is going hand in hand with what we have just suggested that you do. It will help clear your mind for the task ahead. It will help center and align you. Help you envision clearly what you must do. Help you attract synchronicity into your lives in the way that is necessary for you to accomplish this idea. This is a very unusual meditation. Ride with it. Don't be afraid. Just ride with it. You are safe. Let happen what will happen. And use it if you wish, if you can, whenever you wish. You don't have to. It will be enough that we give you this day of your time and instill this vibration in you. If you just remember that we did this, the vibration will return and keep you on course. And it will do many other things as well that we're not going to tell you about right now. But you will see and you will know them when they occur, and will know them as part of what this meditation triggered within you. So relax. Close your eyes if you wish. Take a deep breath. Get comfortable. And just pay attention. That's all you have to do. Just pay close attention. Pay close attention. Very, very close attention. Pay attention to what I am saying but do not listen to my words. Do not listen to my words. Pay close attention to what I am saying, but do not listen to my words. I may be lying, but you know I am not. Pay close attention. Do not listen to the words. Feel any fear come up within you. Any fear at all. Feel it. Let it come. Let it come. Let it come. And be joyful at its presence. Feel it. See it. Any fear of anything. Any fear of anyone. Any fear of any idea. Let it grow. Feel it. Do not ignore it. But experience it with calm, reserved detachment. While you feel it, feel the hot, burning fear, but encased in icy calm. Feel the cold, sharp, jagged, cutting fear, but warmed by the glow of the sun. Melting away, becoming hotter and hotter as it turns into the burning, consuming fear that is cooled by icy calm. Pay close attention to my words, but do not listen to a thing I say. Pay no attention to what is being said, but know everything that needs to be said. I may be lying, but you know I'm not. All day long, you will be no one but yourself. All night long, you will be everyone but you. And you will find in your confusion great clarity. Fog, the thickest fog imaginable. You can see nothing, not even your hand in front of your face. Deep, thick, gray fog. The sharpest, crystal clear night full of brilliant, bright stars. The sharpest, crystal clear night you can imagine. Fog, a wall of fog. The clearest, crystalline night, the brightest burning stars. Pay attention to everything I say, every word, as sharply as you can. Pay attention. Pay attention. You will miss it if you don't pay attention. Do not listen to my words. Do not listen to my words. Pay attention. Pay attention. I may be lying, but you know I'm not. And yet, I am. All of you. All of you. All of you. None of you. None of you. None of you. You are the only one. You are the only one. You are everyone. Pay attention. Pay attention. Here it comes. Pay attention. You missed it. You missed it. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone forever. 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 It's gone. You missed it. Pay attention. I may be lying, but you know I'm not, because you got it. You have it. It's yours. You never lost it, never needed to find it. It was always with you and always will be. I may be lying, but you know I'm not. Pay attention and let go. Let go. Surrender. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. It is not worth it. Whatever you think it isn't worth it. It's not worth the pain. It's not worth the sorrow. It's not worth the doubt. It's not worth the fear. But you are here by choice, and so you know that what you are is worth anything you have experienced. It's all worth it. It's all worth it because it brought you here, to this moment, here and now. Pay attention. Pay attention. And then realize you do not have to pay attention. Attention is free. You have it. Just be aware of what it is you are, what it is you're really all about, what it is you are. Then let it go, and it will stay. Always and forever and never. Fog and crystal clarity. One and the same, aspects of the same. You are the fog, or you are the crystal clarity. The choice is yours. Choose. Every moment, choose. For every moment is itself a choice. You do not experience moments but that you choose to. They do not come unbidden. They do not come from nowhere. They come from you. You are the moments of your life. You are the moments of your life. Decide what they shall be. Fog or crystal clarity. The choice is made. Every moment. Pay attention. Do not listen to my words. Feel the joy. Feel the passion you know has always been there, but was lost in the fog. You are the fog. Clear up. Crystal clarity. The choice is still there. You are still there. Always have been, always will be. The power is always in paradox. When two things seem to contradict, that's when you know you are standing squarely at the center of your power. For both apparent contradictions come from you. Realize this, and you are free. Take a deep breath and let it out. These are not just words. Take a deep breath and let it out. I have just said nothing. Take a deep breath and hold it, hold it, hold it forever. And let it out. And let it out. And let it go forever. It isn't worth it. Only you are. And you are priceless. We thank you for allowing us to share this meditation with you. You may open your eyes if you wish, or not. It is up to you. I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. We will begin this transmission this day of your time in the following way. We would like to cover 3 distinct ideas this day of your dying. Number one will be somewhat of what you would call a political idea. Number two will be a somewhat unusual meditation called the paradox meditation. And number three will be our interaction with questions and suggestions. We will not say answers, we will say suggestions. For we do not have answers for you so much as ideas and suggestions for how you can find the answers yourself. Now, let us begin with the following idea. We have discussed with you a few times before the concept of contact between various extraterrestrial civilizations and your own. And certainly, as your years go by, we are coming closer and closer to the time when such contact can occur openly. We have, in past transmissions, talked about the notion that by your year 2015, that the majority of people on your planet will be, as we read it, aware of the existence of extraterrestrials. Now, this can still happen in a number of ways. We are not saying that open contact will happen by 2015, just that the majority of people on your planet will be aware of the existence of extraterrestrials, such as myself and others. But toward the idea of accelerating open contact, we would like at this time to propose an activity, if we may. May we? Are you sure? Want to make sure that you actually want contact with us? All right. So then, remember that this contact is not in any way, shape, or form because we will solve your problems, but because you have accelerated your energy to the level at which you begin to understand your ability to create the reality you desire, your ability to see yourselves as equals to all beings in creation. It'll be the result of that. And any acceleration will occur because of that, because of your actions, your involvement, your participation, your responsibility, because it is your planet. And up to this point, our civilization and other civilizations have taken, as you would say, an arm's distance approach, not becoming involved in certain aspects of your society because it is your world and we cannot interfere. However, now you have made enough shifts in your own vibrational energy that we can begin to suggest some courses of action to accelerate the idea of open contact. And so, since we are now allowed to, by the difference in your energy, we will do so, if you are ready to participate. It will require your participation. And here is what you would call the window of opportunity. Between your upcoming year that you call 2005 and your year that you call 2012 will be the 7-year window for what we are about to suggest to be accomplished by you. It is a 7-year project. You can make it happen sooner. It's up to you. But as we read the energy now, it is all right if it takes 7 of your years. All right? All right. Now, some of you are aware that there exists now in what you call your laws, your federal regulations, a law called the Extraterrestrial Exposure Law. If you are familiar with this, you will understand that what it says in general, very broadly, is that if you should come into contact with a life form of any kind from off of your world, you are subject to quarantine, fine, and imprisonment. You may look it up if you wish. Title 14, Section 1211 of the Federal Regulations of your country. It was ostensibly created for the idea of preventing exposure to what you would call virulent alien organisms, pathogens, and such. This was implemented in your year of 1969 when you landed on your moon. But the idea was stated broadly enough, with intention behind it, that it wasn't just relegated to the idea of pathogens, but to any extraterrestrial life form whatsoever. So should there even then be an opportunity for contact between any of you and any of us, you would be then subjected by your own laws to fines and imprisonment and quarantine. Now then, since we deem that you would probably find this relatively unpleasant, we have stayed away for the most part. There are, of course, a few civilizations that have had sporadic contact with individuals on your planet from time to time. We will not go into the details of those specific cases now. We are addressing the idea of broad contact, open contact. That which in that sense is acknowledged and welcomed by the majority of the people on your planet. So here is your project. Either and or to alter the extraterrestrial exposure law so that it does not in any way create a punitive action for contact with extraterrestrial life, but more importantly, that you create a new law, an open contact law, that each and every one of you, so willing, begin from this day forward to get together, research, investigate, learn, teach yourselves, educate yourselves, and actually form the law itself. Write it up, either as one of your initiatives or a bill, and get it passed by your government. That you will allow, acknowledge, and approve of open contact between your world and extraterrestrials who have announced peaceful intentions of interaction with you. In this way, when you create this law, have it officially backed, and get not only your country, but as many nations on your planet to sign on and adopt this law as possible by 2012, it will go a long way toward accelerating our ability to have open contact with you. For the idea is that we must respect the laws that exist on your planet because you have decided that those are the laws you will abide by. And so if you are capable from 2005 to 2012 of creating an open contact law and getting the majority of people on your planet, the majority of nations on your planet to adopt, to sign on, to acknowledge and accept this law of open contact for all extraterrestrials seeking open, peaceful contact with you. That will actually open the door for such contact because you, the majority of you on your world, will have said that it is all right to do so. And that will make all the difference in your world, in our ability to interact more and more openly with you. Then, once that door has been opened, the only criteria remaining that will determine the rate at which contact can then occur will simply be the rate at which each and every one of you gets in touch with your own fears, misgivings, trepidations, hesitations, and doubts about such contact and what it might mean for you personally, what it might mean for you collectively. But then at least you will have dropped one barrier to such contact, one very important barrier that we must abide by, which is the rules you have deemed are the laws of your world. Is this clear to you? Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to create such an open contact law? Are you willing to word it? Are you willing to finesse it? Are you willing to work together? Are you willing to collect the hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of signatures required for this law to pass in each nation that is willing to pass it?
Yes.
I can't hear you. You do not have to be. We are not saying you must do this. It's your planet, not ours. It's up to you. But now, from this day forward, you can play an active, hands-on role in determining when such open contact is possible. You can be involved in this now. It's not any longer out of your hands. It's squarely in your hands as well as in ours. Those of us who have hands anyway. But it is up to you. We are placing this responsibility, this challenge in your lap. Work together. We will, at the very least, check in with you in this manner once a year at least to see how you are progressing. And we will add guidance. We will tell you how things are changing because of what you have done. We will keep you apprised of the shift in energy. But you yourself will be able to feel that with your enthusiasm, with your involvement, with your participation. Hands-on, doing, acting, creating, formulating, passionate about it if you are. Show it, do it. Now then, if 100 of you get 100 signatures each, and each of them get 100 signatures each, look how fast it will grow. Perhaps you will beat the 2012 deadline by many, many years. It's up to you. But I guarantee you this. When you have the majority of your people acknowledging and accepting and approving of open contact when and where it should occur in a peaceful manner, it can be general in that sense. Obviously, you cannot make it too specific because you don't necessarily know who open contact is going to happen with first or second or third. But the idea of being willing, you don't even have to necessarily get people to believe that extraterrestrials are talking to you, are visiting you. Just when and where it might happen someday, the idea is to be ready and willing and able to interact without fear of quarantine, punishment, fines, and so forth. Just the expression that you are willing to allow such a thing to occur in an open, constructive, positive, and peaceful manner will be enough to get a very, very, very large ball rolling. Then we will take it from there. This is the first step of truly working together. This is the first step of honoring your place as a member of the Association of Worlds. be that it may be honorary at the moment, but eventually one day, in fact. If you will do this, and it is up to you, you will make that day accelerate, and it will be here before you know it. Thank you.
A real second day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, now, first and foremost, allow us once again to thank each and every one of you, and all of you together collectively, for the co-creation of this interaction. Once again, each and every time you are willing to co-create these interactions with us, it forms a bridge, a link, and a connection between our reality and yours, so that we can, together, more and more every day in every way, create a third new reality in which we can both interact in new ways. So we thank you for the gift that you have given to us of sharing. We would like to begin this idea, this transmission, this night of your time, by discussing something that we have labeled debunking the debunkers, talking about the gullible, the skeptical, the cynical. The idea has been expressed many times on your planet that there are unusual phenomenology that occur from time to time that many individuals on your planet either do believe or do not believe are occurring. Obviously, there are certain things that are perhaps misinterpretations of certain things. This can happen, obviously. Not every single thing that someone may think is a certain thing is a certain thing. Nevertheless, the idea of finding balance within your investigations and your relation to the idea of unusual phenomenon in your world is one that requires a clear, concise approach to remain in balance. And the idea is that what you call being skeptical is in and of itself a natural, healthy point of view, especially for your world, where there are so many deceptions that may occur on your planet, so many different agendas that may occur, and that individuals may wish to take advantage of others. Therefore, remaining skeptical can, in your world, be a healthy thing to do. However, the idea is that skepticism, by definition, is an open-minded state of a willingness to explore something, a willingness to look at what you call evidence, a willingness to understand your relationship to it, your personal relationship to it, and a willingness to allow for a new belief to come in, to challenge the old belief you may have been holding on to. Not the idea that you must change your belief, but a willingness to allow for the possibility that your beliefs, be they long held or cherished, may nevertheless require some change. The idea, of course, is that on polar opposite sides of the balance point of skepticism are the issues of gullibility and cynicism. We have said once before that cynicism, the formula for cynicism is CIA. Cynicism equals ignorance plus arrogance. Now, the understanding is that unlike the idea of open-minded skepticism, where you are willing to investigate, willing to take in new information, open to the possibility of changing your point of view, cynicism is that which has its mind made up, has a belief system and an agenda totally intact, and is unwilling to change. The idea being, therefore, that cynicism dismisses any new ideas that may challenge the paradigm that exists within. Gullibility, for most of you, means being open to accepting just about anything without any kind of filtration system, without any kind of discernment. The idea, however, is to recognize a fascinating fact about the polar opposites of gullibility and cynicism. They are not polar opposites. They are different versions of the same thing. Gullibility also has cynicism within it. Cynicism also contains a great degree of gullibility. Allow us to explain. The fundamental similarity between
gullibility and cynicism is the same issue. I believe what I believe, and nothing will change that despite any evidence to the contrary. The gullible, in accepting everything without any kind of discernment, are actually saying the same thing. I have a belief system that I do not want to change no matter what. It's the same thing that the cynics say. I have a belief system I do not want to change no matter what. The gullibility inherent in cynicism is this. When a cynic often looks at the so-called evidence that may be brought before one, many times the cynic, while thinking that they are actually investigating the true evidence, the true story, may simply be gullibly accepting the folk tale and using that and dismissing that as if they are dismissing true scientific evidence, when in fact all they're doing is saying the folk tale may not be actually representative of what's actually going on, and therefore because the folk tale is not true, the reality must also not exist. And so by saying that, by approaching it that way, the cynic has actually gullibly swallowed the general folk tale that has been put forth by individuals who may in fact be gullible. So in that sense, the gullible and the cynical have a connected relationship, a marriage of sorts, and they feed off each other, all pushing away from each other in that sense, leaving the idea of skepticism in the center. So all we are basically suggesting here is that too, in your investigation of anything that you may hear that seems unusual in your world, allow yourselves to remain in the center, in balance with your investigation as to whether or not it means something to you, whether or not it ought to be incorporated into your belief system structure, whether or not it really serves you in a positive, beneficial way, and allow yourself to maintain a sense of discernment as to what is and what is not appropriate for you. Now, of course, we understand there are many different points of view, many different belief systems, and for each and every individual, whatever belief system they are holding to be true for themselves at any given moment is true for them at that moment, even if it seems contradictory to another. But the only reason we are discussing the issues of gullibility and cynicism in this context is because very often the idea of those who are gullible and accept everything and those who are cynical and accept nothing often attempt to push that point of view on others. So if you are going to have a particular point of view that you believe is contradictory to anyone else's point of view, by all means, you are entitled to create that for yourself. But understand, you are not entitled to create that for anyone else. The idea is that each and every single one of you have the power, have the given gift to decide what is true for you, but do not have the ability to decide what is true for anyone else. Therefore, in the idea of accepting what is true for you as being all well and good, the idea, therefore, of communicating it to another is where the idea of balanced skepticism comes into play, in that when you transmit information that you may feel is true for you and would never likely change, the idea of sharing that to be balanced always comes with the allowance that whoever you are sharing that point of view with does not in any way, shape, or form need to believe you. And that's not what it's about. Sharing the idea of a point of view is an opportunity to give someone an option to consider another idea, another belief, another point of view. But it is only an option. It is only a sharing. It is only an opportunity to decide for themselves whether your point of view works for them, whether it's something they can form a consensus agreement upon. But no one really needs to do that. In fact, as we have stressed several times, none of you even need to believe anything we have just said. This is our point of view. This is our perspective. This is our understanding from our civilization based on our experience, our evolution, and what works for us. Now, yes, it is true. There are some general consensus ideas and beliefs that are common to almost everyone on your planet,
These are the things you have already created a consensus agreement about that are put on, shall we say, automatic pilot, so you don't have to really think about them day to day. You can get on about the business of simply living your life without having to think about the idea of whether gravity is suddenly going to cancel on you. That's a consensus agreement that there is such a thing as gravity. Nevertheless, obviously, in this day and age of exploring consciousness and beginning to realize that physical reality is only an illusion and that you create whatever you are experiencing it to be, many individuals are beginning to explore and examine the possibility that gravity may not necessarily be such a given. That solidity may not necessarily be so solid. That things are malleable, that space-time can be flexible, stretched, bent, altered, and experienced in a new way. And the more you allow your vibrations to focus on these things, the more you will synchronistically experience the results of that point of view, of course. Because this is the general consensus you have all agreed to explore, especially in this lifetime. The idea of the expansion of consciousness, which then brings the realization that physical reality is nothing but your game, your creation, your illusion, your experience. Physical reality itself, as we have said several times, is not unto itself a real, solid thing outside you. The experience of physical reality is real, but not the physical reality itself. It's just a mirror. Nevertheless, you have, to a great degree, created some consensus reality. But as that changes for several individuals, as there is created new points of view, and as there is consensus even among small groups about different points of view from the general consensus, new bubble realities are thus then created within the overall consensus agreement. As time goes on, as you proceed in your investigation of things that have historically been considered unusual, unbelievable, unreal, and start to find out that many of them in fact are real, are very believable, are in fact extremely experienceable by each and every one of you, you will thus then imbue the general consensus reality with more and more vibrations that are representative of more people's ability to see some of those unusual things actually come to pass, come to fruition, become more concrete, more stable, more experiential. That will happen over the course of time as you create time to exist. But nevertheless, in this transitional timing that's going on now on your planet, when each and every one of you are really busy about the experience of deciding what is true for you and what kind of a reality you really wish to experience your life to be, as you redefine yourselves, find out what you have been labeling things as and change those labels to suit the idea of your true, natural, joyful selves, which is available to you all without exception. As you go through this process, all that we are suggesting to you that has worked for us is that you allow yourself to be open to the possibility that as you adopt new beliefs, that those beliefs in and of themselves are no more capable of becoming concrete than you wish them to be, and that they themselves are always open to change as you gain new understanding and new perspectives of yourself as an aspect of creation. So, if you wish to experience the idea of gullibility and accept everything, as you say, willy-nilly, that's your choice. But it will allow you to take a longer time to create for yourself the ability to discern what actually works best for you and what does not. If you wish to create the idea of a cynical point of view, be our guest. You are entitled to create that if you wish. But again, from our experience, we simply caution you that it will allow you to create more time in which to create the reality of your preference. Only the balance point is the thing from our experience that allows you to create the reality you prefer in an ever-flexible, ever-changing, rapidly accelerating manner. So it's up to you to decide what you prefer. Doing it slowly, doing it quickly, doing it in between at a pace that is comfortable for you. It's up to you. But recognize simply that all of it is your creation, all of it, and that every point of view is valid, but there are always consequences to the choices you make, mechanically speaking. Of course, many of you understand that when we say consequences, we are not discussing the issue of punishment or anything like the idea of negative judgment. We are simply talking physics,
mechanically. There is always a reaction to every action. And therefore, it's about gaining more discernment about what the consequences are mechanically for every action that you take, for every stance that you take, for every state of being you choose to be in. The idea, therefore, is to allow yourselves to recognize that you can make choices that will determine what kind of experience you have. And if you are not enjoying the experience you are having, you can allow that to change by making different choices. It's really as simple as that. I know that for many of you it doesn't seem to be that easy because you have a difficult time figuring out how to get in touch with what choices you're already making that are creating the experiences you say you don't want. But nevertheless, it's actually a relatively simple thing to do. All you have to do is get in touch with the thing that you are using to define, the label you are using to define any particular experience that you are having. And once you get a handle, as you say, once you make transparent the label you have been using, whether consciously or unconsciously, to define the reality that you are experiencing, it will become clear why you have been experiencing the things that you have. Because as you label a thing, so thus then does the consequence issue therefrom and give you that experience. What you put out is what you get back, as we have said many times and call the third law of creation. Therefore, balance is the key, literally, that will unlock all perspectives to you and give you the discernment to decide. Even if it's through the auspices of figuring out what you are not, to decide what it is you truly prefer to be. Many people on your planet will take that route. They will explore many things. They will find that it will allow certain kinds of negative experiences to happen in their lives, but that may simply be their way of exploring what they are not to more clearly define what they are. And when you choose to go from the darkness to the light, in that sense, when you choose to balance yourself out, then by having gone into the darkness to define what you are not, it may be that much simpler for you to define what you are and that much easier to go into the light and create realities of your preferential choice that are in alignment with your true core self. Is this making some sense to you? Yes. All right. So, the idea, therefore, to simply sum up the issue of debunking the debunkers is to pay attention to the fact that when individuals seek to debunk, they are often themselves simply afraid to look at new ideas, new things. When an individual is also gullible enough to accept everything without discernment, it is also the same issue. They are afraid to see something else that they think will be something unacceptable, something distasteful, something to be feared. You may have that experience, but none of it is empirically true. There is nothing to fear in anything that you will discover. Every single thing you will investigate, every single thing, the deepest fear, the greatest joy, every single thing that you will investigate, you will always, I guarantee you, discover simply more of yourself, more of your true core being, because that's all there is to discover. However, as we said, you do not need to take our word for it. We know it works from our experience, and many of you know it works from your experience.
Yeah. No. Really good. Really good.
In this idea of the reality generation circuit, let's have a small meditation to lock this in, anchor this in as it connects and relates to the idea of the soul blueprint. Become comfortable as you believe it is possible to become. And remember, during this meditation, you do not need to exclude anything, any sound, any feeling, any sight, any smell. Include everything as part of it. It all belongs, otherwise it wouldn't be. Invite everything in. Leave nothing out. Let its energy add to the energy that drives you deeper and deeper and deeper into the meditation and into an understanding of what is being delivered here today. View, if you will, infinite and empty black space. Endless, endless, endless black space. No stars, no light. You are floating in emptiness. And it isn't even you in terms of your body, just your awareness. Everywhere your awareness turns, everywhere your awareness looks, empty, empty, empty black. Until you spot within yourself one bright spark of light. Like a tiny, tiny, tiny star floating in the infinite blackness. Just one. Just the one that you are in the center of your consciousness. Even though it is in the center of yourself, you can still see it as if it were in some senses outside you. As if you were looking in on yourself. Yet it is in the center of yourself. This is your first relationship and connection to Source and all that is. And from this, the light expands and expands and expands and expands until it fills all of the space with whiteness, bright light, beautiful light, until there is nothing but the light, and you are in the center of it. And then, in that center, a small spot of dark, like a little black hole. In the center of all the infinite light, a small black speck floating in the center of your being. And you know that if you look into that speck, you will see the infinite darkness that you experienced a moment ago. But you know that if you look into that infinite darkness at the very center, you will also see another spark of light. And if you look into that, you will see infinite lightness that you are experiencing now. But you know at the center of that will also be a speck of dark. On and on and on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever without end will always be the darkness and the lightness and the dark. One feeding into another, one expanding from the other, one giving birth to the other, and without the other, neither exists. For you cannot know one without that you know the other. For without the other, there is not the knowledge that another exists. So to have one, you must have the two. Dark and light, light and dark, extend from one and the same creation. They are source. They are all that is. All that is. This light and dark, one unto the other forever, thus then creates patterns within itself. Patterns within patterns within patterns of darkness and light, lightness and dark, patterns and patterns and patterns, filling itself infinitely with patterns of light and dark in a variety of shapes, sizes, configurations, extents, distances, times. Light and dark, vibration upon vibration upon vibration, like ripples in a pond, overlapping, 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 until there is nothing but small vibrations everywhere of light and dark. And out of this sea of seething back and forth polarization energy, certain facets start to crystallize and become self-aware, reflective consciousnesses, miniature versions of all that is, infinite unto themselves and yet finite compared to the infinite. Again, infinity containing finiteness and the concept of finiteness extending to infinity. More and more crystallizations until the entirety is crystallized, but full of small crystallizations, autonomous unto themselves. Each of these crystallizations is made up of a signature of many vibrations. It is a soul blueprint. Each unique, different. And each, looking into the center of itself, creates a window, a prism, a triangle, a tetrahedron in its very center of space, time. 3 positions of space, 1 of time, the tetrahedron, 4th dimensional structure, through which, like an eye, it peers into an unbelievable experience of the reality of all that is in 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time, and projects itself through that window, creates a personality construct to hold itself, contain itself, identify itself as a vehicle for traveling in that type of space, in that type of reality. Each personality being like unto its own time-space ship, in which the consciousness can project, in which the consciousness can ride and experience that reality, much like a diving bell experiences the deep blue sea. That personality construct is created from the definition of it, the feeling of it, the behavior of it. And thus then, the quality of those things determine the quality of the view you get through the windows in each of those sides. The more clear and balanced the definitions and beliefs, the more clear and balanced the emotions and thoughts, the more clear and balanced and in alignment the behaviors. The clearer the view, the more transparent the view of the reality you are exploring in space-time. And then you encounter a whirlpool, a current, an eddy, a seismic event, a ripple, a tidal wave, something that throws you off course. And you go spinning off into the depths of the dark, dark ocean, all the way down to the blackness, all the way down, until you come to rest on the cold, hard ocean floor of physical reality. And you lie there for a moment, stunned, beset upon by great pressure of the water and energy above you, holding you down, holding you down, holding you down. And you do your best to move, and all you can do is crawl along the ocean floor with the great pressure on your back. And you vaguely remember what it was like to swim free, what it was like to move up or down, left or right, forward and back, what it was like to see the light high above you as you crawl through the sediment of ages past, through the history of the rocks and the beginning of time. And you crawl, and you crawl, and you crawl in the darkness for a long, long time. Then slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to realize that you are crawling up a slightly inclined slope, slightly upward, so slight you almost didn't recognize, because it is still so dark that there's no relative way to tell, but you can feel the difference in angle. The angle is different. Your head is once more slightly elevated, slightly pointed back up. You still cannot see the light, but you know it's up there somewhere. And so you keep crawling and keep crawling, upward, upward, upward,
And the slope is long and shallow, and it seems to be taking forever and ever, and there still is no light. No light. No light. And as you keep crawling, and keep crawling, and keep crawling, suddenly your eyes adjust, and you realize it's not quite so dark anymore. It is now shades of gray. And you allow the gray in to feed you information, to remind you of the brilliance of the light, even though this is a pale comparison. It reminds you and feeds you and inspires you and spurs you to keep going, to keep climbing, to keep climbing, to keep climbing. And the slope bends upward, more abruptly, more abruptly, more abruptly. And you begin to feel some of the weight being lifted, the pressure, the load lightening up. And a little more light leaks through, and a little more light leaks through, and now you can see you are not alone. There are others all around you crawling up the slope with you. And you realize you were never really alone. But just so in the dark you could not see that you had company. And upward you go, and upward you go, and upward you go. And pretty soon it's lighter and brighter and lighter and brighter. And now you're not crawling anymore. You're starting to swim a little bit. You still sink down a little bit to the slope, but you can push off and float for a while. Push off and float up. Push off and float up and up and up and up. Until your feet are only barely touching the slope, and you are starting to stand, and your head is high. And now you can see others around you, not only of your own kind, but all sorts of life, floating up with you, inviting you higher, higher. And there is beautiful, beautiful light and music coming from the surface, above the surface. And you float up and up and up, no longer caring what the slope of the floor is, for now you are free of it. And you float upward and upward and upward. And now the light is getting bright and brighter and brighter, and so bright you almost have to squint. But soon you get used to it. It is shimmering, iridescent, sparkling, beautiful, alluring, inviting. And in one breathtaking splash, you break the surface and can see the infinite expanse of the ocean all around you, and all the others bobbing up and down in the sea, looking around, blinking their eyes awake, moving from one density to another, their heads poking up into the air, breathing the air again, the cool, fresh air, filling your lungs, invigorating, inspiring, energizing you. And to the point where you begin to rise higher and higher and higher in the ocean until you actually rise above the water, floating above the water, rising into the sky, higher and higher and higher, into the clouds, through the clouds, above the clouds. And you look down below you and see the beautiful blue ocean and the swirling white clouds. And you rise higher and higher and higher and look toward the sun, the bright star of your solar system, and move toward it. But all around you now is blackness and other stars. You are in space. And you look down upon your beautiful globe, your beautiful earth. And you remember the long path. You remember diving down, wanting to play, wanting to explore, wanting to investigate. And you remember the unexpected eddy, the unexpected current, the unexpected whirlpool that drug you down to the ocean floor. And you remember being down there for a long, long time. But then you remember crawling, and then you remember walking, and then you remember climbing, and then you remember rising, and then you remember being back up here above the clouds, back up in space, moving toward the sun as it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, and moving into the sun, into the heart of the light, the bright, fiery light, into the heart of creation. And the light is bright, but it does not burn. It supports and sustains, and it is what you are made of. And you look back from the sun, from the light of all that is, to the earth, and you remember it as a journey, as a treasured path, as an experience never to be forgotten and always to be cherished. And you are now of the stars. You are the stars themselves that give birth and life to the various planets upon which many such journeys are possible. And you marvel at the myriad possibilities within creation, the infinite number of journeys that have been taken by a variety of versions of you, simultaneously, side by side, across the gulfs of space, time, and dimensionality, going on multiple journeys, infinite multiple journeys simultaneously, and collecting yourself back into the oversoul that is the star of many systems, that is the light of consciousness of many dimensions, and to the source of all that is. Your oversoul rises with other oversouls, each oversoul containing multiple millions of lifetimes, and each oversoul rising together to blend into the one, the all that is. Each experience fully remembered, fully retained, and yet also simultaneously harmonized, harmonized, harmonized with the one. This is your natural state of being. This is who you are. And the soul blueprint is but a reminder of this connection. It is but an echo of this connection. Yet through it, your personality can always be reminded by listening to the clear tone, the clear chord, the clear ringing of the bell that reminds you that whenever you are having difficulty and doubt, whenever you are in trouble, come home, come home, come home. You can always leave again. And you can always come back. Back and forth. Back and forth. Lubricating the path, gliding from the personality to the soul blueprint, to the source, to the soul blueprint, to the personality, to the multiple lives, back to the source. Any direction you wish, any way you wish, any when you wish. Take a deep breath in and lock this certainty in. Lock it in. It is who you are. And understand that you are now changed. And that the personality you were, the personality that came to this transmission, is not the personality who will leave this transmission. And this is a different transmission, on a different world, on a different day, in a different place. And that what began is another place and time from where you are now and who you are now. Breathe deep and know the certainty of who you are. Incorporate this vibration in every cell of your being. Take the time you have made. Take the time you are making to express that which is you as fully as you can. Take another deep breath. Open your eyes if they are closed. And connect to a new reality, a bubble reality, that is not the same world that was here before, not the same person that was here before. Let go, let go, let go. And connect into the new you. One more deep breath with your eyes open. Feeling clear, clean, fresh, and transparent.